This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
The saga of disgraced Congressman-Elect, but still gonna be a congressman, George Santos, continues. I don't even know how to broach the topic. I'm sure you've heard about it and the series of lies that have come out of his mouth, the series of claims that have all just proven to be absolutely untrue, not even like a scintilla of truth. Liar. And you know, it's interesting because it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that Republicans, when their dear leader, Donald Trump, is chief among them, a liar and a grifter and a charlatan, just a wild, rabid POS. They've seen this as a winning strategy. They've witnessed Donald Trump do Donald Trump, be Donald Trump, just trump it up, and they want to replicate that. They want to duplicate that because they found that it resonates with the base. And that's what happened with George Santos in New York. I'm going to play a clip here first because this is really emblematic of not just Donald Trump, but Republicans talk about the American dream. And if you work hard, that's all it takes is hard work. It doesn't take luck or connections. It's just the hard work. Which on the other side of that coin means if you didn't work hard enough, that's why you failed. If you didn't achieve the American dream, it's because you're lacking in some way. So I'm going to play this clip of George Santos talking about all of these tick points, all of these elements that are emblematic of him living the American dream, achieving the American dream, and every single one of them is a lie. This won't dissuade any Republicans from the myth of American meritocracy, but nonetheless, we need to keep hammering the point home to dispel the lies and the myth that is so pernicious. Watch this.
You know, you've mentioned in I think one of your interviews that the American dream is harder to achieve than ever. You know, when you get in Congress, how do you plan on making it more achievable? And what did you mean by that?
Well, when I look at it is I fought really hard and I believe I attained the American dream. I own my own home. I am a very successful businessman. I went to college. I graduated debt-free. I was able to attain all these things through hard work. I think that the American dream now is harder to attain because instead of giving people motivation to do better for themselves, we have people in Congress such as AOC who are actually creating an army of, and excuse the terminology, but crybabies, of people who don't really know what it is to work because they believe their own reparations for 7-8 generations removed of ancestors who, yes, were slaves, sadly, but you weren't a slave. Your parents weren't slaves. Your grandparents and your great-grandparents weren't slaves. What are we talking about? Paying millions of dollars to descendants of slaves that are, in some cases, 7 to 8 generations removed? You don't bear the burden of slavery. This is a free country. I mean, and I look at that and it drives me nuts.
Well, you know, I believe the American people prepaid their debt to slavery in blood in the Civil War by freeing the slaves. It's the only.
Look, one, this is racist propaganda. Two, let's go through these. Well, first, the last part about they don't know because he veered off track after talking about AOC and her army of crybabies, started railing against descendants of slaves in America. That they don't know what it is to work. This is insane. That poor people, in this case, he's talking about black people, they don't know how to work. This is dredging back generations of racism and hate toward black Americans. All while sitting on a perch of lies that he feels like he did attain the American dream. He owns his own home. He doesn't. He claims to have owned 13 homes. He doesn't own anything. He lives with his sister. He's a very successful businessman, he says. No, he's not. He went to college and he graduated debt-free, another trope about not taking out student loans. Didn't graduate college, by his own mouth now we know, did not graduate college. And we'll get to that. And he graduated debt-free. Well, you didn't graduate, so you didn't have debt. And he was able to attain these things, all of these things, through hard work. While it's just a session of Republican masturbatory nonsense in this interview. Well, actually, I believe the debt was paid, reparations was paid in advance in blood of Americans. Shut your mouth. Both of you liars. So this sets the stage, and I'm going to read a little bit from this New York Times article that was just published yesterday, entitled, "George Santos Admits to Lying About College and Work History." The Congressman-Elect confirmed the New York Times findings that he had not graduated from college or worked at two major Wall Street firms, as he claimed. Now, I don't think that the claim of working for Goldman Sachs and Citibank or Citigroup are the most egregious elements of this. He's lying about having Holocaust survivors as direct relatives. He's lying about his faith, saying that he's Jewish, and then no, Jewish. And now he's saying, I've never claimed to be Jewish. And we got the receipts. We've got his position paper here, where he, in fact, if I could get the papers to stick to my dry ass hands, where he calls himself as a proud American Jew. I'm getting off track here. I usually have an order to things, but this case is just so gross. So let's read a little bit from this New York Times, very select items here, where he calls, "My sins here are embellishing my resume," Mr. Santos told the New York Post in one of several interviews he gave Monday. Mr. Santos admitted to lying about graduating from college and making misleading claims that he worked for Citigroup or Goldman Sachs. He once said he had a family-owned real estate portfolio of 13 properties. On Monday, he admitted he was not a landlord. And in fact, he lives with his sister. The mythology surrounding the American dream is an excuse to oppress people who struggle in poverty, who work their asses off at multiple jobs and still don't attain success. American dream. Mr. Santos acknowledged that a string of financial difficulties had left him owing thousands to landlords and creditors, but he failed to fully explain in the interviews how his fortunes reversed so significantly that by 2022, he was able to lend $700,000 to his congressional campaign. This is something that needs more eyes. This element of this, that he loaned nearly $1 million. Where did this guy who owns no property, has no college education, hasn't worked at these prestigious firms, where did he come up with almost $1 million to loan his campaign? In both interviews on Monday, Mr. Santos also denounced, and this is great, this is so great. In both interviews on Monday, Mr. Santos also denounced reporting by both CNN and The Forward, a Jewish publication, that he may have misled voters about his account of his Jewish ancestry, including that his maternal grandparents were born in Europe and emigrated to Brazil during the Holocaust. And this is what he said. "I never claimed to be Jewish," Mr. Santos told the Post. "I am Catholic because I learned my maternal family had a Jewish background. I said I was Jewish. Jewish." Well, that's a lie. You should come as no surprise that he's lying about this. Here's a video where he is speaking to a group and claims to be one of three Jews in the Republican caucus in Congress. Watch this.
Oh, good morning. Shabbat shalom to everybody. And thank you for for being here. Thank you for having me. My name is George Santos. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that my good friend Congressman Lee Zeldin really paved the way for all of us in New York. Lee has served as an inspiration, as a friend, and as a leader for the Jewish folks in Congress and for all of us in this room by at one point being just 2 members. So now we're going to be 3. We've tripled it. We've almost tripled it there.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Jewish George Santos here. Yeah. Not only that, there is the position paper that I briefly mentioned that has been uncovered by the Forward, where he says in it, as a proud American Jew, I have been to Israel numerous times for educational, business, and leisurely trips. Additionally, Iran must never obtain the blah, 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 blah. But as a proud American Jew, he claims himself to be. Now, this lie was so pernicious and apparently a feather in Kevin McCarthy's cap that on November 19th, the same day where he talked about being one of 3 Jews in the Republican caucus, as I stutter my way through this, Kevin McCarthy also repeated that. Watch this.
But I really want to talk about who's the makeup of this new majority. You heard from some of all already. You know, with Max Miller in Ohio, George Santos in New York, and you had David Kustoff from Tennessee get reelected. He introduced them. Do you realize we have the largest Republican Jewish caucus in more than 24 years? Not bad, huh?
So that's got to be a little bit of egg on Kevin McCarthy's face, that he's the leader of just clown after clown after clown and liar after liar after liar. He's got his Paul Gosars and his Marjorie Taylor Greens and his Lauren Boeberts. And now he can add to the list George Santos and a slew of other idiots, charlatans, liars, fabricators of their entire life story and background. Over the course of his, I'm not going to go on and read this paragraph. He's talking about the colleges that he went to and the businesses, the corporations that he worked for, the prestigious financial institutions. And then he's quoted as saying, I didn't graduate from any institution of higher learning. I'm embarrassed and sorry for having embellished my resume. He said later, adding, we do stupid things in life. You just did them. You just did the stupid things. We do stupid things in life should be a statement or a qualifier that's designated like a decade after you do the stupid thing. You don't get to do the stupid thing and then 5 minutes later go, let's move on. We all do stupid stuff. It's like the moments that, we're all going to look back and laugh at this in another 10 years, but you need the time to pass before you can look back fondly or bemused by that moment. He's wanting us to move on now. Look, I know I said lies last week. We all do stupid things. Let's just move on. Republicans aren't going to make him leave. And unless Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, is able to find out if there is actual criminality involved here, he's likely going to stay in Congress. But there needs to be a push to get rid of this person, this liar, this grifter, this charlatan, this Republican. I mean, really, that should just sum it up. This attempted clone of Donald Trump. There's going to be more to come. There's going to be more that's going to be not overturned, but released to the public. There's going to be a lot more on this character. And in the meantime, Republicans will support him. Republicans will at the very least remain silent about this grifter in their midst. Because if they call him out, there's plenty others that are going to have to be called out. What do you think about this insane story? You can call or leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can email me, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. Going to be a congressman here in just a few days. Stop electing stupid people. Stop electing grifters, America. Stop giving Republicans the majority. If you support my work, if you appreciate my work and you want to support my work, help produce my work, click the join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. You can become a YouTube channel member and support this effort. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast, and you can follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore across the board. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.